Hello. Yeah, if you can hear me, you can just say hi. Oh, great, 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 great. So, yeah, so I've seen so many people adding me on GitHub, and I think I've been quite impressed with a lot of things I've seen. The assignments have mostly been done. We'll get back to you guys on the assessment plan for that. We'll get back to you guys on that. So we will be any copy. This is any copy for me. So we will be using. We'll be going into the next topic, which is we're going into the next topic for this week. This topic is going to be a very, very exciting topic. This topic is going to be a very, very exciting topic, and I will be expecting quite a lot of questions from this topic. And yeah, the deadline for submission should have been before the next, so yesterday. But we can give an additional 1 week or so. I guess we can keep an additional 1 day rather. All right. So, all right, guys. So let's continue.
Hi, Chibuke.
So this week is going to be quite interesting. I can promise you all that. This topic we're about to go into is going to be quite interesting. There are many ways to get it going, and I'll try to give you all the very best and the easiest ways I know to understand it. I'm talking about the assignments that the exercises in your LMS training. Great. So let's start with the user group.
Hi, Chibuke.
Let's start with users and groups. Now, according to the training that we already have here, you need to understand what the users and groups are. So in Linux, every account that has been created in Linux is always assigned to a user and a group. Users can be various people whom you are giving different permissions to, various people whom you are giving different permissions to, various groups who have different permissions also. So for instance, you can, like if you are setting up an SFTP server, for instance, you can say everybody under the old school should have the groups, should be able to see the files in a particular folder. If you're not in that group, you can't see the files in those folders, things like that. Now, the good thing about this is that it also helps you manage roles and permissions, roles and permissions for different users and what they can do. You can give people ability to run scripts. You can give people ability not to even run scripts and things like that. That's one of the good things about the user controls. So it helps you manage different users. Unfortunately, we do that with the terminal. For the Windows users, you just need to go to your settings command, go to your users, create groups, and you can do that easily. So most of the things we're going to be doing here will be on our Vagrant system that we have created. So I'm going back to This is my Vagrant system I created for this project last week. And this is where I'll be running most of my commands. Yeah, thank you. So now, when you do a cat etc password, what you're trying to say here is you just want to see every user in the system that has a password, or every user. The first thing you see, we're taking an example with the first line. The first thing you see is the username, which is the root. The next thing you see is the X, which means password. The UID is the user ID. The GID is the group ID. The root is the comment, which was created while you were setting up that root user. The /root is the directory. So that's the directory that the user has access to. And the bin/bash means that this user has the ability to run bash commands. Now, I'll go to the second line. For the second line, you can see that it's almost the same thing. No two users can have the same user ID. That's one thing we need to understand. No two group can have the same group IDs also. So for the second one, you'll notice that this user has the ability to access the user / that's the daemon user has the ability to access the /usr/sbin, but it does not have the ability to log in. That's why you see the no login assigned to it. So it means that you can't assume the role of a daemon user and log in to the terminal. That's what that /no login means. The sync command has the ability to do the /bin/sync. So what I'm talking about the 1, 2, 3, the fifth line. What you're trying to say here is this user, which is sync, you can't get lost. So these are all basic, simple things. Please, let's not get lost. Let's start getting it interesting. It's just basic, simple things. It might not be things that you use every other day, but it'll be good to understand how it works. So the sync command, or the sync the sync user has a password, is under the user ID 4, is under the group ID 65534. The comment attached to it is the sync. It can access the bin command, the bin, the /bin folder, and it only has the ability to run the command sync. I think, can we all see my system? I hope I should be able to cat etc cat. Okay, I will zoom into it. That's fine. Okay. Now let me see. Now this is the sync command I'm talking about here. This is a sync command. Now this sync command is the user named sync. Has a password already assigned to it, has a user ID of 4, has a group ID of 65534. Yeah, I can zoom in more. Has a group ID of 65534. Now has a comment sync. Interesting. Is this better? Yeah. So Now it has the ability to run a sync only. Now, usually you don't usually have to enter into the bin command, but the bin command is where we store all the executable files. All these are the executable files that we can run on the system. Every single Linux command that we are going to go through, or that we have, or that is created, is stored in the bin command. This is where we store all the executable files, all the change mode, all the echo, edit, whatever it is that I want to run is all being stored here. And if you make any installation, it will install in here. So there is a sync command here, which can only be run when which the sync user only has the ability to do. So anytime you call that sync user, you are going to call it, and all it can do is just to run a sync command. So these are the ways you can create different roles and permissions for different users in a Linux system. I hope we're all getting it. I hope we're all getting it. I believe we're all getting it. So back to now. Well, I'm going to take us through how we can create users. Moses, what is the problem? So I'm going to take us how we can create users on Linux. Very, very simple command on how we can create users on Linux. Very, very simple. It's already in our trainings for the week, but I will just take us through that a little bit. Please hold on. Hold on, please. Just need to get. All right. So we're going to start with the creating users in the Linux command. So the command to create a user is user add. Let's call it alt school. Okay. So I don't have the ability to do this because I don't have the permission. That's why I'm saying permission denied. So what I need to do is to assume the super user, and I try it again. I'm going to delete it because I didn't spell it well. So I'm going to now add with the proper spelling. So I've added this user in our systems now. The user exists, and I've added this user, the user exists. Well, sorry, you might need to check. Yeah, I'll give no, you can't give yourself permission, just use a sudo su. So I've added this user. For us to see the user, we can decide to /etc/pass. Let's see. No. Yeah. So the tail command just gives you the last 10 commands, or the last 10. It edits the last 10 lines on a file. So this is the user I created. Now, you can see what I've said I didn't have an old school. I didn't have an old school folder in this system. Right now, it has created an old school folder. So if I go to /home and I do my ls, cd /home/old school, no such file. So I will need for this old school, and now for you to assume the old school, you can assume the old school with the su old school. Oh shit, me and this spelling. Please, I did not go to school very well. So now I've assumed the old school. What am I refreshing? So this is my system. Now to assume the old school user which I've created. If I use my su old school, I can assume the old school user which I've created. So now this person is my old school guy. I am in the old school user which I have created. It does not have a home directory, but you just need to create the home directory. You have to create the home directory. So you make directory old school. Okay, you don't have the ability. So you shouldn't even. I think you should be able to only create that from the other master user. Fine. So that's me in my. That's me having access to that. You can see the old school I've created. Old school password capability, user ID is 1004, group ID is 1004, and so on. Now, if I want to give password, if I want to assign password to this old school, all I just need to do is the password command and the name of the user. So you can give it any password you like. So now it has a password. If I try to assume the role of the old school user, oh, okay, that's because I'm a super user. If I exit this and I try to assume the role of an old school user, it asks me for the password. When I put the password I created, I can assume the role of the old school user. Does anybody understand? Is there anything like the add user? So you have to understand that Linux has a lot of they have some commands that are kind of the same thing. So yes, the add user is the same thing as the user add, right? The add user is the same thing as the user add. Shala Jacobs, please, how fast am I? I hope you guys are understanding me. Vagrant SSH. So the next thing that we're going to do now is to create a group. So that's the next thing we're going to do now. You need to understand that we have different creating a group. The most important ones that we know about is the group add. That's what we're using create in a group. What we need to do is to use the cat replace /group. So this is giving us, you can old school that I created a group for it as I was creating it. Now, if I want to see all the members in a group, There's a command called members. Then you just put the name of the group. It shows you all the users in a group. There is also the LID command. I don't have it installed, but you can install it. That would also show you the users in one particular group.
Hi, Chibuke. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes, I can.
Yeah. I was trying to talk the other time. You didn't hear me. Okay, so I don't know. I feel the pace is kind of high for them, bring the fact that they are newbies. I don't know if you can take it a little bit slower for them, please. Do you get that idea?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you. A little bit slower, please. Thank you.
So I think at this point, before I move into the groups, I'd like to ask, does anybody have any questions for me, please? It will. Okay. I'm going to start from the beginning again. I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll take it up from the beginning again.
Okay. Yeah.
Linus
Before
interface
you,
is very ugly.
yeah, I understand. Before you start, please, guys. Well, we can't be going back and forth, but I need every one of us to please pay proper attention. Let us calm down and listen well, so that we'll be able to move fast. God will help us. All right. Thank you, Chibuke. Thank you very much.
All right. So I'll start again from the beginning. Manuel, I know any of them is any of them that you like. If you just don't call me comrade. So for the purpose of these lectures right now, we are going to be talking about users. Well, not comrade, please, Conrad. We're going to be talking about the various users that we have in a Linux system. So for you to see the number of users that have access to a Linux system, the command to do that is cat. I think we all know what cat is. etc is where we store database, mostly applications files that are related to users, groups, and regular applications that the Linux is going to use. Now, if we go into this, if we cd into the etc and do an ls, you can see all the files that are stored in the etc. So these are more of configuration files for the system, ranging from the network manager. These are things you might never have to use, the apt support, the kernel. So the configuration, this is where we store all the configuration files that is going to be used by the system itself, by the Linux system itself. So in this etc, we have a group file. So for us to see, let's see what is on the users. To be able to see the user is the password std. Now this shows us all the various users that were created in this system as at the time it was spinning up. Yes, it's like the file manager in phones, exactly. But the difference here is that you can only see configuration files that are used to configure the Linux system, the Linux operating system itself. Those are the only things that we can see in the etc file. Nothing else can you see in the etc file. So now the first line here is a root user. So the root user is a super user for the system. The root user has a password, which is the X. Not everyone can CD. You can't just do CD into etc. You must identify that it is a folder. That's how you log into the etc file. You must identify that it is a folder. Now the first user here is the root user. The root has a password. It has the ability to use a password. The user ID, which is the next thing, is zero. The group ID is 0. The comment while creating the user is root. The folder that the root user has access to is the /root. Then the root user has the ability to run bash scripts. Yes, you must do. No, you cannot do cat etc. You do cd/etc. So, like I pointed out here, the user, which is the root user here, has which is the root user here. Okay, so that we can see it while I'm calling it again. The root user, the first thing there is the username. The next is the password. So it has you can't see the password because the password is secret. The next is the user ID. The group ID is next. Comment assigned to creating that user is next. Then the file, the directory, the home directory the root user has access to is next. And the bin bash, which means this is the ability of, these are the permissions the root user can do, has the ability to run a bin bash, is also next. Now, for daemon, the daemon is more like an executable file, something that helps you to run executable files on a system. Things something like in Linux, daemons are usually stored in the systemctl or the system files. Now the daemon here is the user. The X is a password. One user ID, that group ID, the comment, the directory where this daemon runs or has access to, and the last one here tells us that this daemon you can't log into this daemon into the sbin file. That's the shell that he's using. Yeah, so it had the daemon is spawn. That's the spawn of it. So and so on and so forth. Now, for the user I created, which is the old school user, and also my user Conrad, you can see the ability. You can see it has to have access to this file name old school. I've not created it yet, but I'll just create it, and it will have access to that file name old school. So I hope we all understand what I'm saying. I hope that if there are any more questions. Great. Now, so I want to create a user, and I want to create, if you see what I've done, I have removed the old school user. You can see it's no longer here. Now I want to create it again. So to create a user, you use the user add command. Then you type the name of the user you want to create. Sorry, I need to have my sudo here at always. So now I've created a user again. You all can see it. I've created a user. So the user add command actually gave it a username, a password. It gave a username. Can give it a username and assign a group also to it. So I'll clear this. You can see the various commands that you can run on with any Linux system by typing clear so I can by typing dash help. That gives you all the commands you can run. So for instance, if I want to create my user and I want to give it a direct I want to give it a different comment name. Now, if you take a look at what I showed us here, you can see the old school, there's no comment here assigned to this particular user. So if I say I want to give it a comment or I want to create a user with a password at the same time, let's delete the old school user I've created. Sorry, I'm always forgetting to do this. So now I've deleted the user. So I want to add the user now. Now I want to add the user with a different group. I don't want to add him in his own group. I want to add him in a different group, in the Conrad group. All I just need to do is to type my G, Conrad. Well, first and foremost, let's give the name of the user first. G is going, so it's going to be added in that user group. Let's say you want to give it what again? Comment. Let's give it a comment. Is it a small c or a capital C? A small c. Comment alt school under Conrad. Let's press enter. What's wrong? Okay, my comments shouldn't have space. Hi. You should just, I think I'll just need to add, become the pseudo user here. Now I've created it. Does anyone understand what I've done? No, you must not know all these command eventually. No. You mustn't know all the command eventually. That's why there's a help. As you can see, I've been a Linux administrator for more than 10 years, and I'm still using the help command. The help command is the best thing that you need to know. You don't need to know everything off by heart. So I want to tell. I just want to see the last 10 things, the last 10 lines on the users that I have. Now, can you all see the comment I created? You can see the comment I gave to it is a comment it has given to us there. The home user, the 1004 under the group 1004. Now, if I do members Conrad, can you all see? Because I added it in the group Conrad, which you can see here. Because I had added it to the group Conrad, which you can all see here, we can see that it has added us also in that group. So it's also a member of the Conrad group. So what that means is that whatever permissions all the users in Conrad has, the alt school will also have. That's just what it means. can you explain what this command would mean on our even though it's